All right, so today we are talking to Miss Kee from Coffees by Kee. So is it okay that I call you Kee?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So listen. It's a woman on TikTok that was like, let's get into it. So let's get into this coffee, ma'am. This coffee. This is like my third cup, like K cup today. Like I've been trying not to drink them all, like back to back. So I have to give myself a break. So I have I drank the. Okay, well, first let's ask this question, then we'll get into that. What made you want to start doing coffee?
Okay. It was curiosity. It really was. And I'm a nerd. I am a self-professed nerd. I will admit that. And the more I learned about coffee, because I would only drink coffee because I had to, like in the Navy, I would drink it because I had to. I needed to stay up. But
Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't enjoy it. And I wondered how people could enjoy it black. And I didn't understand it. So I was like, well, what do you mean flavors? What do you mean this? So I started researching.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I researched, the more I realized that there were very few people that looked like me that actually roasted coffee. And so that ego kicked in, and I decided to. I was like, I know I can cook. Wait a minute. So because it's just like cooking, basically.
Really?
And yes, because those beans, so you think about it, and I don't have any out here, I'm horrible, but you figure you get green beans from a plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the beans have a capability, if you will, based on where they were grown, how they were grown, and so they'll have different flavor possibilities. So
Mm-hmm.
as a roaster, you're roasting to bring out what you want. Like I don't like acidic coffee. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like coffee that is very, very um acidic and it hurts your stomach or whatever. So I tend to roast mine a little darker
Mm-hmm.
to bring out those chocolate notes, those smoky notes. So it's just like cooking. What do you want brought out? How do you want to season it, if you will?
Okay.
So yeah, it's just like that. So so it was curiosity, and
So how
I
did
wanted
you
to do it.
so how did you figure out that, like, how do you find the beans? Like, because you have to go somewhere, like we don't grow beans here in America, do we?
Hawaii, we
Oh,
have greens and but they are so expensive.
right.
But so what I started doing, again, being the nerd I am, I started going to conferences. I've gone to roasters conferences in Portugal. I've gone.
Wait, there's conferences for coffee.
Yes, yes, we all nerd out about it. So I would go to conferences, and there were some people that were so helpful, and they would reach out to you, or accept you reaching out. Now, some of them were like, look, I'm not going to train my competition.
Mhm.
So they wouldn't help you, but some would. And so it's just like everything you know how the cigar community is?
Mhm.
The coffee community can be that way too.
Wow. So when you went to these conferences, because you are a, let's use the term coffee nerd for this interview. Um,
Okay.
because you are a coffee nerd, when you went to these conferences, did you specifically go only for finding out about kinds of coffee that you like, or did you purposefully think about the cigars as well?
When I went, it was just to learn, how do I make it work? How do I make it fit? And the coffee and cigar connection came in later because they're grown in if you look at where cigar tobacco is grown and
Mhm.
look at where tobacco beans are grown, not tobacco beans, I'm sorry, coffee beans are grown, they are grown in the same warm regions and they have so much in common.
Mhm. So, so I know that your coffee beans come from Central and South America and Africa as well. So
Yes.
which one did you decide on first, the African beans or the Central South America beans?
So the Central and South America, especially the Nicaragua, that Nicaragua has chocolate flavor, and I love it. Um, the Central and South Americas were first. The African coffee, coffee was discovered in Africa first.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to taste that. And then Robert Brown, who I know from
Mm-hmm.
Grown Ash that you spoke to, when I got my African ancestry done, I found out my ancestors were from Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, why don't you find coffee from Cameroon?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think they had any, but okay. And come to find out, there were farmers there in Cameroon. And
So
so
did you
that's
get
how
to
I bought.
go? You went to Cameroon?
I did not
Okay.
go. I didn't go, but I connected with some farmers
Mm-hmm.
online, and I ordered some coffee and they shipped it to me. So
Okay,
it was pretty good.
so so when you went to the conference, you reached out to some people that were already in the business, and so then when you decided you wanted your beans, did they ship you some beans to?
You can order beans from importers, yes.
So
So there
are
are
they green or are they already roasted?
No, they're green. You order green. Excuse me. The importers, they may have special relationships with the farmers already to get the beans over to the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and then they sell them to roasters. But they're
So
already green.
I mean, this is so fascinating. So you get your beans, they're green, and so I know that they have to be roasted. So like what, do they just get put on a cookie sheet and put in the oven until you smell them,
No,
or
I have. They can be though. They can be. Some people roast on pans. Some people roast in popcorn poppers. As a matter of fact, I started with a popcorn popper.
really?
Yes, but I have a commercial roaster now,
Mhm.
and so I roast with that drum. I roast with that equipment.
So wait, so you do this yourself?
Yes.
Oh, I know a coffee roaster. What?
Yeah, you do, and you're drinking hot coffee.
Yeah, okay, so let's get into this coffee. So I am having the noir today. I'm hoping I'm saying it right.
Yes,
So I had Unconquerable first, and I love the story behind the Unconquerable. So you gotta
yes.
tell us real quick the story behind Unconquerable.
So I have multiple sclerosis, and sometimes you can imagine heat exacerbates our symptoms, right? So standing in front of a 600-degree roaster, yeah, that can be
Wow.
problematic. So I was feeling bad one day, and I graduated from the Florida State University, go Noles, and so I on the campus there is a statue called Unconquered, and it shows the unconquered spirit of the Seminole tribe of Florida. And I wanted to stop roasting so badly because I was testing out new beans, and I wanted to stop, but I thought about Unconquered, and I was like, no, I'm not going to be conquered. I'm going to finish this. And that next roast I came up with Unconquerable. That's what you were drinking. That next rose, I was like, okay, this is the profile I want to use.
Mhm.
So I used it.
I love it. Let me tell you. So I have cigar friends and coffee friends, and I told them, I said, well, I have some coffee coming, and I want to normally when I get coffee in, I always invite my coffee friends because you know I need a whole bunch of opinions. I want to know what they like, what they taste, what they smell. I normally use them for smell because I don't have a sense of smell. So it bums me out that I can't smell, right? So I use my friends to smell for me. That sounds a little weird, but it is what it is. So
That's a
I
roll.
right. So when first I love that the K cups are totally combustible. I love that fact. I love that.
Yes.
When I popped one in, my girlfriend said, okay, so I get the first cup. I'm like, why? She was like, oh my God, it smells amazing. I'm like, well, no, ma'am. I'm drinking the first cup. Right. So I got it was like we were standing there watching for the last bit of water to come through because one of us was grabbing the cup and I had my hand on it just like this. So I normally use one French vanilla creamer in it, right? But I always taste it without it. So I tasted, I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So she was like, hurry up and make mine. So made hers. And we sat there. And you know how you do your little food dance when something is so good? We were sitting there like dancing in our chairs. Yes. And we were like, oh my God, this coffee is so good. I couldn't wait for her to leave because I wasn't going to break out another one while she was there because I knew I would have. So as soon as she left, I popped another Unconquerable in there, right? And I'm like, oh God, I normally only drink one coffee a day. I drank 3 that day. And then I purposely waited for today to drink the Noir. I thought it couldn't get no better. This is cup number 3 today. And I'm like,
and you're not jittery, are you?
No. And yeah. I need to know why. Why aren't I jittery? Is that a trade secret? It's a trade secret.
No. You know what? I roast specialty coffee. And so I roast a specialty Arabica bean. And so in that roast, you're not going to get some of the you're not going to get the extra caffeine or the jitters or anything like that. You can actually enjoy it. And that's why I like roasting specialty coffee. Now I can roast a different type of coffee that will have more caffeine, but I don't want people to feel, and it's cheaper, but I don't want people to feel that jittery feeling.
And you know what? And when I drank it, I kept saying something must be wrong with me. I must be getting sick because I'm not jittery. Because normally, if I have more than one cup, I'll be very like, oh, like a worker bee. I just need to find to do stuff. Yeah, not with this. And it is, and having a cigar with it. Oh my goodness! Now,
yes, especially at Noir.
Yes. Now, and see, that's why I finished my cigar before this interview because I had it with my first cup and I thought, okay, I'll smoke this cigar, have some coffee, and I'll have one for my interview. Well, I drank the cup so ding dang fast. Mm-hmm. I had to go get another cup. I had to brew another cup. The other thing is, I love that they're K-cups because a lot of new, smaller roasters are not doing K-cups. And I appreciate that you did the K-cups because a lot of people have K-cups in their house. So was that purposeful? Did you purposely say, I'm doing K-cups first?
It was. So me being, my husband only drinks coffee out of a K-cup because he's always moving so quickly. Mm-hmm. And I partnered with a school during COVID. And the school only had K-cups for their staff, and to keep them from touching things. So I donate the K-cups to the school. And so it was really an intentional thing. And as a matter of fact, you said French vanilla. So I'm thinking, because I typically don't do flavors in my coffee, but with the K-cups I can. And I'm thinking about offering flavors this next time. Because the Unconquerable, I think I'm always going to do the Unconquerable.
Okay.
The Noir I like with the smoke because of those chocolate smoky flavors. But I've had people mention, I've had 2 schools of thoughts, and see, this is where I'm going to use you for market research.
Okay.
I've had 2 schools of thoughts. Some people like to add their flavor to the coffee. That way, if I'm feeling French vanilla today, I can have that hazelnut tomorrow, cherry the next day. But some people want it already in the coffee.
Yes. Now, and that's the thing, because I have given up sugar.
Okay,
Hence
good.
why I have to do French vanilla. And I know it's sugar in there, but I still need a little bit of sweetness. So that's why I started off with 2 of the little individual cups. Like, I made it so I don't buy the big jug. So 1 is enough for me. If you come out, listen, if you come out of here out the gate with a French vanilla coffee, ma'am, let me tell you, I don't know why French vanilla is like a real big thing with between French vanilla and hazelnut is a big thing with coffee drinkers, but it will be a winner chicken dinner. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I'm thinking about
and
that.
the amazing relaxation that you get from your coffee, just from the coffee. I don't even have to pair it with a cigar. Just from the coffee alone is like amazing. So what would you
Thank you.
what when you made Unconquerable and Noir, how did the cigar come into play with that? Did you look at the different regions of the cigars that you smoke in order to say, I want that being from Cameroon to be with cigars that come from Cameroon?
No, I didn't. I can drink coffee with any stick. And now there are some that I think are good pairings, but that's my palate. So I didn't. I was like, oh, you know what? The only one I did do that with, I take that back. The only one I did do that with was with a Nicaraguan coffee, and the stick just happened to be Nicaraguan, and it worked. So I I did that pairing, but the other ones like my and they're not on the site now because I moved. But the Bloom is like a breakfast coffee that can go with any light to medium stick. The Aficionado, that was the bestseller. It can go with pretty much any stick. And it can also stand up to putting a little bourbon cream in there.
Okay.
Look, little Grand Marnier, you know, and not that I know personally, but
I mean, I got some bourbon and I got some Grand Marnier, so you know
yeah.
what I'm gonna be doing later.
So I that because you can drink it and not be jittery and not be up all night.
Right.
You can have it for a nightcap, and you know, yeah.
I love it. I
So
love it.
yeah.
So is this your 9 to 5? Is this all you do, or do you have a 9 to 5 and you're trying to fit this into your work week?
So I have a 9 to 5. I mentioned that I was in the Navy, and so I left the Navy approximately 12 years. And so my 9 to 5 actually affords me the ability to do coffee. I couldn't go to Portugal on my own.
Right.
So it affords me the opportunity to do that, and it allows me to get my years of service from when I was in the Navy.
Okay. So now you mentioned that your husband drinks coffee as well. So does he have like opinions when you decide what kind of roast you want to do or how long you're going to roast it, if it's going to be a dark roast? Does he say, hey, hey Key, hey babe, I don't think that should be that.
No, he just drank it. He's that guy. He's just gonna drink it. He'll tell you what he doesn't like, but or he'll like I remember I was sampling some beans. And he said, this ain't coffee by Key, because it wasn't, you know, it was me tasting other origins.
Okay.
And yeah, he's gotten to be quite a little coffee snob.
Okay. He's your quality control guy.
Yeah, he like, oh, that don't taste right, you know, and he'll say that. But in terms of the selecting the beans, how they're roasted, he has no input.
So how long does it take to roast like say you want to make, I don't know, like I don't even know what the process is, but how long does it take to roast beans before you can actually process them to be in your K cups?
So, when you roast coffee, you have gases that generate, right,
Okay.
inside the coffee. So that those gases don't necessarily taste the best. So you'll typically let them off gas for like 24 to 48 hours before you put them in a cup or in a bag or anything like that. So about 24 to 48 hours. So it's similar in cooking. You know how you cook and then you just let the food rest. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta let the coffee rest for
Oh, okay.
24.
So, like, do you have like a schedule that you keep when you want to roast coffee? Like, first, you have to get the beans from wherever you're getting them from, shipped to
Yes.
your home.
Yes.
And then you have to then roast. So, do you with this roaster, is it like outside? Is it like, 'cause I'm sure it's not in the house. So,
No, it's not.
you get the beans in, and then do you let them sit for a couple of days before you throw them in the roaster, or is it an immediate process?
You can roast them as soon as you get them, but I tend to roast on order. So, like when my coffee is that way, because some people will have coffee in their cabinet for months, and so I want it to be as freshly roasted as possible so that it has time to sit. So
Okay.
usually I only roast it on order.
Okay. So now so you're in Florida. So are you in like different shops or cigar shops, or do you do pop-ups? Like, how do you get your coffee out there so that other people can enjoy this magical brew?
So I've gone to cigar lounges and done pop-ups. And so one of my favorite things to do was we would on football Saturday, college football Saturday, or even football Sunday when the NFL was playing, I would bring the coffee to the cigar lounge. The
Mhm.
owner would bring donuts or whatever, and the customers could enjoy coffee and donuts. And they would tell me what was a good pairing or what they enjoyed about it. They had coffee and donuts and football. They were in seventh heaven. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
they love that. They love that. So I'm actually, now that we've moved, because initially I had a warehouse up in the Jacksonville, Florida area,
Hmm.
and now we moved to Central Florida. So I have to basically get back up and running. I've gotten my licensing, I've gotten my, my setup done, and now I got to start going out. There are a lot of lounges in Tampa,
Hmm.
and so which is about 40 minutes from me. So
Okay.
I'll have to start back introducing myself to these lounges
Hmm.
and going and doing those pop-ups. I've done a couple years back, I did Orlando Cigar Fest, the Queen City Cigar Fest. I sponsored
Hmm.
coffee in a tea bag, and so all you needed was hot water. So I sponsored that, and so all of the bags had that. So direction wise, I don't know where I'm gonna take it now that I've had to move
Hmm.
and I get to start over. So what are some lessons learned? How do I want to do it?
Right.
So
Okay. And that was going to be my next question. What is some of the lessons that you have learned through the entire process of, roasting your own beans, and one, finding the beans? What are some lessons that you have learned, and and some hard lessons that maybe is like, "Ooh, I'm glad I learned that now."
yes. So Robert said to me years ago when I first started, because I was worried about the stigma of cigars and how I would be, would I be a victim of that? Because as you and I are both evidence, women smoke cigars.
Right.
but I grew up in the deep South. And so it was, oh, that's not ladylike.
Right.
That's not, but Robert told me, he said, you're in your own lane. And so you do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, what feels right to you. As long as you're being authentic to yourself, then it doesn't matter. So I learned that, you know what, you can't worry about optics. You can't worry about what people think. Um, and it's okay to roast coffee that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like an acidic coffee. Now, in the coffee nerd convention, my husband calls it, they like the acidity, the body, different flavors, but I like well done coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay for me to do that because that's what I like.
And now that you say that, I never even realized that that was a thing. I didn't realize, I literally thought that the jitteriness, I guess that's the word, came from just that brand of coffee, right? Like, so I grew up in a house that had the blue can coffee, right?
Yes.
And when I was old enough, I started to drink that. And I'm like, oh my God, how do you, I see why people have such a hard time if they don't drink this, because it's like you craving it. And it's like you're jittery and you're moving in the fast lane. And then now that I've had your coffee and I don't have that jitterness, I haven't had it because I try to support the smaller brand coffees. And I'm not having that. I didn't know that acidity was a thing in coffees. Like, because no one ever says that. No one ever says, the acidity is what I don't like. So clearly, I don't like acidity either.
Yeah, I think that, like, when I first started, because mine was the Red King. So when I first drank coffee, I thought it was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately would put cream and sugar in it for color. I didn't know what it tastes like
Mm-hmm.
without it. And it was just more so a routine, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't understand it or take the time to learn it.
And
And yeah.
so I found you through Robert, actually, because we were having a conversation. I was drinking coffee that day, and he was like, "Oh," and I said something about like, "Oh, I'm almost out of coffee," or something I mentioned, and he was like, "Oh, you got to get with Coffee by Kee," and I'm like, "Who is that?" And he proceeded to tell me about you, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, definitely, I gotta." Davon, get on it, And so finding you and finding this coffee brand, let me tell you, I have one K cup left in the Noir. I'm gonna hold that thing like it's like, a Christmas gift. I'm not I'm not gonna drink that yet. If I might have to save it for my birthday, which ain't until April. So
Okay. I should be, because I'm waiting on my venting, and because you have to vent it out. Because even though coffee smells good when it's roasting, not
not
so
so
much.
much. Okay.
And so I got to get the venting, and when I get finalized, I think I'm looking at about 2-3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll get back. But I got the same comment from my husband. He's like, yeah, we getting a little low. I got he said I got 15. He went in there and counted. He said I got 15 left, and I drink it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how long you got.
Yeah. Well, okay, so tell everybody where they can find you.
So I am on Instagram and Facebook as Coffee by Kee, Kee. Um, and I also have a website, coffeebykee.com. And on there, I think I'm going to announce to that email list when I'm going to be ready to start back. Because right now I have no coffee on my website. I
Mm-hmm.
have cups with little quirky sayings, but I do not have any coffee on that
Okay.
site.
Okay.
So
All right. So we're looking at, listen, people, if you don't have Coffees by Kee yet, when you see this, you gotta order it as soon as it pops up. I'm gonna put the link on the in the description box, and then when you see the link, get on her mailing list so that she can send out the email so that you know when this coffee is coming out. Because I'm telling you, your life will be changed.
I'm so glad you liked it.
Oh my gosh! Listen, I don't know if you can see this cup. I refuse to drink it because I want it to be over yet.
Oh. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. That makes my heart happy to know that someone is enjoying my work.
Listen, I am enjoying it, and I mean, to say that this is one of my top two coffees, yeah, that's a big thing because I'm a coffee drinker. I drink coffee every morning. I like it over ice. I like it lukewarm. I like coffee any kind of way that I can get coffee. And to say that this is amazing, listen, is the product speaks for itself, and I can tell that it is roasted carefully and very purposefully. And I am I don't want to say I'm happy that you have MS, but this Unconquerable and your story behind the Unconquerable should just make people run out and get it anyway, because it is a story that is an amazing testament on what not giving up looks like.
Yes.
So I thank you for sitting down with me today. We're
Well,
gonna have
thank
more
you for
conversations
having
because
me.
you're gonna see me posting about this coffee for the for the next few weeks until the new roast comes out. So you gonna like, oh, there she go again.
Yeah, but it'll
But
be on there. I'm definitely keeping the Unconquerable.
good. That's that. I listen because I'm gonna be getting that. I'm gonna be getting that, and then as soon as you get that French vanilla, I'm gonna be getting that, and whatever else kind of coffee you coming out with, I'm getting. So, people, coffees by Kee. You heard it here first. Coffee, well, not here first because it's on her site too. So you ain't heard it here first. You probably heard it here second. So coffees by Kee. You need to go out there and get it. Get on her mailing list so you know when when the next roast is coming out. And I thank you for sitting down with me today. I'm going to put all of your contact information in the link, and I'll be tweeting it out and Facebooking it out and all of that. And it is a thirsty Thursday, and I'm gonna finish my little coffee in this cup. and I'm gonna hope that Noir K-Cup lasts until my birthday.
Okay.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh.